ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Friday, May 16th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. Baseball. That's our story today because the Herd's in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. And so all we are worried about now is seeding. Thundering Herd has a shot to avoid that first day. Baseball coming up tonight at the Jack. And they are playing. I know the weather concerned a lot of people earlier. They're playing at the Jack, 6 o'clock. So right after this show, hopefully you're on your way now to the ballpark. Thanks for taking us along with you if you are. And then we'll have baseball action. And don't forget, we've got the game for you coming up tomorrow. We'll have it for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. 2 o'clock is going to be our approximate airtime for that. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully the Herd can win this series out, and we've got a good spot in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. I'm hopeful. I really am. I'm hopeful. If Marshall can finish in the top 5, that says something. Very strong conference, and Marshall right now getting the win yesterday, looking better, 29-24. That's an okay record. 14-14 in Sun Belt play, even better. And so the Herd's got its spot all sealed up, ready to go. So we'll definitely have a fun time next week whenever the Herd begins its play. Just still up in the air right now as far as that bracket's concerned. But with that said, baseball coming up tonight, we had to talk about this athletic director search. So the committee is out now. The names in the committee, it's out. And we'll look at who's on this committee. And the big deal here is that Marshall is working with Carr Sports Consulting. And this is a firm that does this. It searches for athletics executives. And so Carr Sports is going to lead the process. And in the release that came out today with the names, and we'll talk about it in depth, Brad Smith was quoted as saying, "The role of athletic director is crucial to the continued success of Marshall Athletics and our university community. We are committed to finding a bold, forward-thinking leader who will build on our proud traditions and drive us into the future with innovation and excellence." So there are 11 members on the search committee, and there's some interesting names on this committee. Carr Sports, this committee, will conduct the search, and I'm sure the search has already begun. This is just a formal announcement of the committee today. And there are some interesting names on this. You got to have some student representation. So Logan Osborne is on this committee. Yeah, you have to have some representation there. And then you have Julie Folks representing probably the coaches on this committee. Interesting choices there so far. Logan, of course, is probably going to give you more of a football slant, but as a graduate student, a former student athlete in football, he's going to give you a different perspective there. Of course, Julie, fairly new to the university, not the most tenured coach. She a season in now with the Thundering Herd. And of course, there's a lot of different backgrounds and names on this list. So we'll break this down. And I asked the question just in passing a few days ago, what do you want to see in the next athletic director? And of course, Brad Smith, he put his statement out, said that they're committed to finding a, quote, again, bold, forward-thinking leader who will build on our proud traditions and drive us into the future with innovation and excellence. Okay, what does that mean? When you hear that from the president, what does that mean to you? What is forward thinking to you? What is innovation and excellence? What is building on proud traditions? What does that mean to you? Quite candidly, what do you want to see from the next athletic director? What do you not want to see from the next athletic director? What does this individual have to possess for you to be on board with the new athletic director, whomever that may be? So we'll open our text line up this hour, 304-396-TALK, 396-8255. I did reach out earlier today, and I don't think we're going to get anybody here in the next few days. I will reach out continually and see if I can get someone on from this committee, but we'll go over the full list. I might even try to get Logan Osborne on. He might be more interesting guest anyway to talk about this from his point of view, because he's probably going to represent the on-the-ground person, the person that represents the student body. And he will, of course, have their best interest at heart. A guy like Logan Osborne, yes, we're not talking about someone who just transferred in for a year. This is Logan Osborne here. And so I trust that he will make good, sound decisions and bring up excellent points. So I like seeing him on this list. So we'll go over the entire list with you. We will take your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. But the usual suspects, people that you would expect to be on the list, are on the list. And another name that we'll talk about, Mark George, president of the Quarterback Club. He's on the list. I'd be surprised if he wasn't on the list of this committee. What would you ask of this committee as well? What kind of questions would you have of them, or would you want them to pose to a candidate that would want to be the athletic director at Marshall University? And of course, this will tie into what do you expect from the next athletic director at Marshall University? Forward thinking. What does that mean to you? What's the vision? Fan relations. How can that improve with the athletic director? What can a new athletic director do that the previous athletic director didn't do? Or we'll take it from another angle here. What is the current athletic director doing that you want to make sure continues? What did you like with Christian Spears' initiatives, or how Christian Spears handled the athletic department that you thought that was forward thinking, or that was great, or that needed to be done? What did you think of what he was able to bring to the table? What would you like to keep? The best parts of Christian Spears. Carry those over to the next athletic director, which is going to be someone different. It won't be a clone of Christian Spears. I at least would hope not. Bring a different individual in with different thoughts, different ideas, different perspectives. So there's a lot you can go into with this. So we'll talk more about that. Also, we'll get you caught up on everything else that's going on with our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Busy weekend baseball, and it's going to be even more busy weekend. We got, of course, the Thundering Herd tonight and tomorrow. Pirates had Thursday off in action this weekend, taking on Philadelphia. We'll have that game for you, 6:20 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And, of course, got some good news. The Carolina Hurricanes defeated the Washington Capitals 3-1, and so the Hurricanes win the series 4-1. Alex Ovechkin, you broke the Great One's goal-scoring record, and you are out of the playoffs again. I think it's the best of both worlds. You got the record, we all enjoyed it, and now you're done. And now all I have to do is hope that Carolina gets eliminated. I always want Washington to be eliminated. Now Carolina's next. I couldn't have both of them eliminated at the same time, so I'm just going to take the one I want out first, and then let's get rid of Carolina, and that would make me a happy person in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And, of course, we've got a really good one. We got a Game 7 coming up. Denver and Oklahoma City, 119-107. So the series is tied 3 games apiece. Always fun to have a Game 7. So there's a lot happening this weekend. We're going to get into it with you when we continue. And, again, that text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You're listening to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's the Grand Slam sales event at Ironton Automotive, and you're up to bat. Drive one out of here with unbeatable deals on winning lineups of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Slide into a new ride today with easy financing, top dollar trade-ins, and home run savings that'll have you rounding the bases in style. Don't wait, these offers won't last forever. Visit 2125 South 3rd Street in Ironton, Ohio, or online anytime at irontonautomotive.com and score big before this event heads for the fences.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
Hi, I'm Nori, and over the years, my mother and I have opened our homes to those who need it most, and it's been so rewarding. I bet you didn't know that some adults who have unfortunately been mistreated need a place to call home in West Virginia. It happens more than you know. They may have some physical or mental limitations, and they need your help. Everyone deserves a place to call their own. I can tell you from my experience, it's worth it.
If you have an open heart and want to open your home, Adult Family Care may be the right fit for you. Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an Adult Family Care Home Finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at Hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. That's Hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The nicotine in e-cigarettes is addictive and can harm brain development. That's why I worry about teens who try e-cigarettes. Many young people use pod-based e-cigarettes like Juul, which have high levels of nicotine. And because teens' brains are still developing, they can quickly become addicted. The tobacco industry uses fruit and candy flavors to attract young people, often turning them into lifelong users. For more, visit healthychildren.org.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues designed to help you help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this edition of The Drive for Friday, May 16th. Our text line is now yours at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Heard baseball in action tonight. Looking for a win to play for seeding right now. You're in now. You're just now playing for seeding. So Marshall with the win last night, 10-8. Exciting game as always. Back at it. That takes place in about 40 minutes at Jack Cook Field. And, of course, again, a quick reminder, tomorrow we'll have that game. Hopefully the weather's going to hold. I think we're going to be in a good spot. We'll have that for you coming up tomorrow, 2 o'clock. It's going to be our game time. We'll have that here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So now here's what the standings look like after everything played out. Coastal is still the number 1 seed at this moment. Southern Miss is second, and then Troy is third. Louisiana and Old Dominion are tied in that 4 spot. So Marshall right now is 6. Georgia Southern, 7. Arkansas State, 8. Texas State, 9. And then App State is 10. Georgia State, South Alabama, both at 10 and 18, are tied for 11th. 13th and not getting in, James Madison. 14th and not getting in, ULM at 8 and 20. So right now, Marshall has an opportunity to finish 16 and 14. 16 and 14 in the Sun Belt, which is a good baseball league. And what does that show? I think you're looking at a situation where Marshall has started to find its footing in baseball. Now, I'm not saying that the Herd's going to get into the tournament and just win out, but there's a shot now. And so we're going to keep an eye on Coastal Carolina and its next 2 matchups with Old Dominion. So we're going to keep an eye on those games because right now, if Marshall can win out and maybe Old Dominion would slip up, after all, there's some games to be played here. Marshall could move to the 5 spot. What does that mean? Well, it means if you're 7, 8, 9, or 10, you're going to be playing on May 20th. And that's single elimination. So if Marshall is in the single elimination portion of the bracket, that's day 1. You win, you go, you move on. If you lose, you're done. So if Marshall is not playing on Tuesday, May 20th, instead playing on Wednesday, May 21st, and then you think to yourself, hey, Marshall might have a shot now. Marshall could have a shot at this. If Marshall's going to be the 6th seed, 6th seed's going to play at 10 a.m. on May 21st. If Marshall would, by chance, make it to the 5 seed, Marshall would play at 8:30 p.m. that night. If Marshall would be one of those first day teams and win, there's a chance Marshall would play either at 1:30 or 5 p.m. So right now, I'm saying 6th seed pending. So we're looking at possibly 10 a.m. First game of the day, we know what Marshall needs to do right out of the bat, taking on the 3 seed. And then, of course, Thursday as well, you've got the loser games and the winner games, and we'll know what happens after Marshall plays its first day, if it's on Wednesday, May 21st. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. So the other thing that came out today that we touched on at the start of the show is that the official release has been sent announcing the launch of the national search for Marshall's next athletic director. And so there are 11 members on this search committee that will oversee this process. That's how it's presented. Overseeing the process and will advance a slate of finalists. And so Marshall University's Chief of Staff, Guinea Painter, will chair the committee. Here are the members. You start with Guinea, and then you have Jim Smith, Chair, Athletics Committee, Board of Governors. Obviously, got to be on the list. Karen McComas, the Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs and Associate Provost, NCAA Faculty Academic Representative, on the list. We mentioned earlier, probably representing all the coaches, Julie Folks, the head women's basketball coach. And then Beatrice Crane Banford, Senior Associate Director of Athletics, is on this committee. The Chair of the Faculty Senate, Sean Schulenberg, also on the list. And then from the College of Business, the Director of Student Services Academic Advising Center, Lacey Bittinger, has been tapped to be on this list. The Vice President for Student Affairs, Marcy Sims. And then you have representing the players, Logan Osborne, graduate student, former student athlete, representing not only the students but football. And as we mentioned earlier, you have Mark George, President, Quarterback Club. Makes perfect sense. He has a lot of constituents. Brandy Jacobs-Jones, Senior Vice President for Operations. And then, as we mentioned, Guinea Painter, Chief of Staff and Chair. and of course, along with Car Sports, this individual group will come together and try to find the next athletic director for Marshall Athletics. And as we said in the top of the show, the direction, or at least from the press release from Brad Smith, Marshall's president, the direction is committed to finding a bold, forward-thinking leader who will build on our proud traditions and drive us into the future with innovation and excellence. And that is from the president, Brad D. Smith. So I ask you, what is bold? What is forward thinking for you? What is building upon proud traditions? What is driving Marshall into the future? What is innovation? What is excellence for you? When you hear those words, what does that mean to you? Also, what would you like to see from the next athletic director? What are those traits? Think about it hard now. You should have a voice in this, so I want to give you that voice. 304-396-TALK, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shops, our text line. So that's your opportunity. What is your voice? What is your thought process? What should the athletic director bring to the table? Texter says, Paul, the next athletic director should have a strong business IQ. Appreciate the text. That's a good point. You want someone that can go out, make deals. I'm not saying go out there and wheel and deal, but you got to have somebody that can come in and now, are you talking about business deals as, are you talking about business IQ as, how to run a business or to go make deals? I mean, that could be two different things. Honestly, I appreciate that text. Business, look, you got an organization to run. The athletic department is an organization. It's more than just a department. It really is an organization here. It's a major company inside the bigger company, Marshall University. And the athletic department is a huge division, huge company in its own. And so you got to be able to run that organization. You got to have the ability, top to bottom, to run that organization, not just delegate, but put people in place, know the ins and outs. And at the same time, you got to go out there and you got to make things happen. And so if you can make business deals, if you can make things happen, and that means scheduling, obviously, right? Finding new revenue sources, right? What else? Those are the two that stick out to me. You got to be able to work with others. You got to make sure that Marshall doesn't get taken advantage of, put in a bad position here. You don't make bad decisions, make bad deals. And you have to be able to manage the athletic department. You got to make sure the budget is on point. You got to make sure you're not over budget. You got to make sure that you've got the right people in the right spots running the organization. So business IQ. It can be two things. It could be making deals. It could be running the organization. Texter says, Paul, the next athletic director has to have a better personality, more of a people person. Appreciate the text. Thank you. You got to have someone you like, right? Is that a trait? A likable athletic director. Is that important? Is that important that the alumni, the donors, the boosters like this person? Or is this a person that everyone in the department loves working with, would run through a wall for this guy or this lady? Is that what we're looking for here? Or we have maybe a different definition of maybe somebody a little bit more personable, charismatic? You're the forward face of the athletic department, right? I mean, usually it's the football coach. Even though the athletic director is in charge, a lot of people look to the football coach. When Bob Pruitt was the head coach of Marshall football, he was the forward face of Marshall athletics. He wasn't the athletic director, but he was the forward face of athletics. Texture says, Paul, the next AD, I would like for them to be energetic, wants to be here long term, and always has the best interest for Marshall. Thank you for that. So you want someone that is committed to the job, that has energy. This isn't like the last go around for this person. I think that's what I'm reading here. Not, all right, I got this is okay. This is my last job, Marshall. Yeah, this is gonna be good. I'll run the department. It'll be great, and I'll be able to retire nicely here. I'm thinking getting that you want someone who's going to be a go-getter or hungry. Probably a better way to describe it. Coming from me, someone that's like passionate, hungry for this. Like, I'm the athletic director. I got stuff to do. Let's go. Give me a Red Bull. Give me a Monster Energy drink. And at the same time wants to build something, because in this day and age, you're looking for the next job. Always looking for the next job. To the point where now coaches that want to stick around maybe more so are outliers than anything. You have a football coach that maybe wanted to stay at Marshall, instead ended up at Southern Miss looking for the next job, the next platform to push the agenda further. But then you bring in a coach that says, look, I'm home. This is where I want to be. I'm home. I want to be the coach for the Thundering Herd until I'm done coaching. And so you have to weigh what can you bring in personality-wise, talent-wise, that maybe meets a lot of those criteria. Maybe they don't have to be from here, but at the same time, they want to be here. Maybe they're not at the pinnacle yet, but they're rising in their career, or they're hungry. They got something to prove. Maybe you want somebody with a chip on their shoulder. Got something to prove. I'm not saying being a jerk, but got a little attitude, a little swagger. Hey, look, this is Marshall University here. This is a big deal. We got stuff to do, and we're going to do it, and we're going to get after it. So I like that. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So what are we looking for in the next athletic director? Traits, personality, background, experience. What is it that you want to see from the next athletic director? Is it contacts, huge network? This person knows everybody, can get it done, can pick up the phone anytime and call the right person, right time, or is able to build relationships. What are some of these traits? And to keep it fair here, what do you like from the current athletic director that you'd like to see the next athletic director retain? Is there something that struck you as, I love what Christian is doing, and I hope the next athletic director will continue that? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. On X, you can find me at Paul Swann. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This spring, unleash the fun at Dave & Buster's Spring of Big, Big Games. Dave & Buster's has added over 100 new games, including never-before-seen hits like Top Gun, Godzilla VR, and UFC Challenge. Whether you're chasing high scores, battling your friends, or discovering your new favorite game, there's excitement around every corner. Plus, games are half off every Wednesday. Level up your fun at Dave & Buster's. Don't miss out on the Spring of Big, Big Games. Only at Dave & Buster's, located at the Huntington Mall.
Take your yard to the next level with Masterforce Outdoor Power Equipment, available at Menards. Own the outdoors with Masterforce 80-volt power equipment, delivering all the power of gas without the maintenance. From lawnmowers to leaf blowers, string trimmers, and more. Find everything you need to create the lawn of your dreams with Masterforce Outdoor Power Equipment at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-960-3377. That's 800-960-3377. 800-960-3377.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. A letter in your mailbox says you could save money bundling your home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. You saw it after your teenager backed the car into the mailbox. Dumb news. A new mailbox, basically a box on a stick, costs up to $400. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and go with paperless mail instead. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today, talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Wow, yeah, since the storm, it's been crazy busy for us. We got all kinds of office desks coming in. Now here's a fancy one right here. It's missing a leg, but that's all right. Whatever. Washers and dryers from a laundromat. Oh, wow, and check this out. Another deep fryer. And I'm not sure what this doohickey is. Yeah, most businesses weren't ready for a storm like that, but our work's really piling up here at Roberts & Son Salvage.
What will become of your business after a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses that experience a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the American Red Cross, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
304-396-TALK is our text line, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. Welcome back to today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. With the committee being announced today that's going to be searching for the next athletic director at Marshall University, I thought this would be a good time to ask you, what would you like to see the next athletic director look like as far as traits, personalities, background? What are some of the things that you're looking for as if you were on this committee? And of course, some of the big names on this committee, and everyone's important, but some of the names that would stand out immediately to you would be Logan Osborne. He's on the committee. Mark George is on the committee. Julie Folks on the committee. So you've got some names that you know, maybe some names that you don't necessarily know, and of course, 11 members. There will be some differing opinions on what this search looks like. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our text line to be a part of today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So, with all of that being said, do you want an athletic director that has a connection to Marshall University? Or do you want an athletic director that comes in and brings something new, something fresh, something different to the table? That's what I'm looking for as far as the next person. What's the direction the athletic department, the university, is going to ultimately go for? Is it going to be someone that has institutional knowledge? So you throw in a name like Jeff O'Malley, or you bring someone in that maybe doesn't have a direct connection to Marshall University, and so they have a fresh perspective maybe, or a different perspective. Maybe they come from a larger institution. This will be a step up position-wise for that person, but they come from a larger institution where they were the second in command. They were somebody like the understudy getting ready for their first athletic director's job. Do you want someone that has a lot of experience from maybe a smaller school making the step up? Texter says, Paul, what are the ADs that the other top Sun Belt teams doing? We are a Sun Belt conference. I don't know what the other ADs at the top Sunbelt schools are doing collectively, because I think everyone has their own agenda. I appreciate the text. But at the same time, what works at maybe James Madison, would that work in Huntington for Marshall? If something works at Appalachian State, does that work in Huntington? And you got to keep that in mind. If they're successful somewhere else, does that translate into success for Marshall University? Or are you looking for that type of success replicated? That's a good point. Whether you look at maybe some of what your peers are doing, what are those schools doing that are successful that you can borrow? But I don't know if I want someone necessarily limited by that. I want someone that can come in and take Marshall to the next level. And I don't want to compare. I want to be competitive with the other Sunbelt schools, but at the same time, I don't want to limit myself to those other schools. I don't want the standard to be Sunbelt schools. I want the standard to be higher, if that's possible. Maybe I would get in trouble with that. If I looked at my standard and like, hey, look, I want my standard to be up here. This is what I'm looking for. Well, you can't do that. Your budget's here. Your standard's up here. Your budget's not up here. Your standard is where this budget is. So what can you do with this budget? And I would, of course, probably not get the job because I would utter some nonsense like, well, the standard's the standard. Well, that's nice, Paul. Thank you. The next is probably what you would hear. Is that what we're looking for here? The standard is what? Someone that can be competitive with Sunbelt schools. I don't know if I want someone who will I want to be chased. If you're asking me directly, I don't want to chase. I want to get to the point where Marshall is the standard. You're looking at Marshall and going, okay, why can't we be like Marshall? That's where I want this department to get to. Why can't we be like Marshall when someone's looking at this job, comparing Marshall and the athletic department to other programs? I don't want to go, hey, why can't we be like James Madison? I want James Madison to say, why can't we be like Marshall? Why can't we do this? What are they doing that we aren't? That's what I'm looking for. But of course, you have to build it first. You got to get someone in here that can actually make that happen. Start out like, okay, where are we at? Where do we want to be? We want to be number one, obviously. So how do we become number one? What do we need to do to be number one? What do we got to do to improve? What are our deficiencies? What are our strengths? What are we doing that we haven't even thought of? I want all of that. So maybe I'm shooting a little too high, but I want someone that can elevate the program to the point where Marshall is the standard. Not what's the standard. Marshall is the standard. Final segment coming up, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Your bow tie guy, Mike Engel here, inviting you to celebrate the red, white, and new here at Cardinal Chevrolet. Memorial Day deals on new Colorados, now up to $4,500 off the MSRP. New Tracks, over $2,600 off the MSRP. There's even 0.9% financing for 60 months and above market trade values. New ownership, better process, and better deals. Better deals. Visit our gorgeous facility right off I-64 in Hurricane or at CardinalChevy.com. Together, let's drive. See dealer for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-960-3377. That's 800-960-3377. 800-960-3377.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6969. 6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much, for taking me out to the park, for reading me books, for taking
me to the doctor when I broke my foot in ballet rehearsal,
for leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone.
And now, as a grown-up, I'm thankful for being able to take care of you, my dear mom, for having the chance to take you to the park, for reading you those books we enjoy so much, for being able to take you to your therapies after you twisted your ankle, for understanding that sometimes you simply want to be alone.
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one. Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
Our final segment here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 with our text line still open, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. From our text line, we've been asking, what traits are you looking for at the new athletic director? The committee was announced today. The national search begins, and Carr Sports and 11 members from the Marshall University community appointed to this thing to search out the next athletic director. From our text line, texter says, Paul, we play for championships. That's how it was spelled. Championships. Texter says, I want an AD with that attitude, that mindset, nothing less. Bob Pruitt, your next athletic director, right? I don't know if Bob would take the job. We play for championships. That was the attitude when Bob Pruitt, again, the forward face of Marshall athletics for a long time. Football was winning championships, and Marshall was in its renaissance, most winning team in the 90s. And that has since dropped off a little bit. But at the same time, the Thundering Herd mindset was, we play for championships. What that means everything. Playing for championships in football. You're playing for championships in basketball. You're playing for championships in volleyball, in softball, in baseball, in soccer. Well, soccer's playing for championships. We know that much. So you want everyone else to be able to match that energy. So that's a trait. What does that truly mean? I mean, look, I want to compete for championships. What do I need to bring other than the desire to play for championships? Is that the mindset? I just have to walk in here, sit down, turn this microphone on, and go, you know what? I'm talking for championships. I want winning. I want awards. I want championships. Or what are some of the characteristics that make that possible? I mean, I can come in here with a positive attitude every single day. I don't know if that's going to win me anything, win me a championship. Or is that actually the secret sauce, that I have to come in here every day and have a winning attitude, hey, look, this is the best talk show on the planet. This is the best talk show in the state of West Virginia. I'm the best talk show host. I compete for championships. Do I have to have that mindset to make that happen? Or do I need to bring some qualities and characteristics with that? I mean, I can say all that. I might believe all that. But what am I doing to make that happen? And so what are those characteristics that I need to bring to the table to make that happen? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I mean, talent does help. Don't get me wrong. Talent helps. Money helps. Resources help. You got to manage all that. And if you make some good hires, now with an athletic director, you got to make sure you put the right people in the right positions. And then you give them the materials and the resources that those individuals need to build those programs. Because the athletic director is not coaching football. Athletic director is hiring the coach that coaches football, but the athletic director is not calling the plays. The athletic director is not working on the passing game. The athletic director is not working on the run game. The athletic director is not working on the three-point shot, is not running the drills. The athletic director is not doing these things, but the athletic director is bringing the people in that run the drills, that do the coaching, that do the game prep. And so you need to have the right person to put it all together. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I will be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 in spirit, because we got baseball. Herd in action, looking for hopefully a series sweep against Georgia Southern. Got game one yesterday, clinched its spot in the postseason tournament. A sweep would be great. It's got to do its job tonight and tomorrow. We'll have that game for you at 2 o'clock here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Until then, have a great night, everyone, and we'll talk to you officially on Monday, and we'll know soon when the Herd plays in the postseason.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.